Okay, perfect. So now, guys, JIRA is a tool, and last class, at least from my class, that I was teaching the last week on Sunday, was that we were learning about how Agile works, right? Agile methodology. There is two different methodologies: is Agile Scrum and also Agile Agile Kanban, and also we have Waterfall, right? So how does Agile works, and what kind of tool do we use for us to pretty much help with Agile itself? So as you guys can see right now, this is a tool called JIRA. And by the time we finish the class, everybody will have access to this. Okay, this is our cloud. Now, what you can do here, we're going to explain, and then you're going to get some homework from me, which is just pretty much playing with the application, which helps you managing your task. So simply, if you ask me what is JIRA, then I will tell you as a simple answer for you to understand is that JIRA is a task management tool. Everything in JIRA we call issue. Okay, so if you click on it, and as you can see, anything that you can create here is an issue, right? And this might be confusing, right? So for example, if you want to create a story, it's an issue. If you want to create a task, it's an issue, right? But then issue has different type. Okay, so for example, look, we got issue types. You can create a task, you can create a bug, you can create an epic, and we'll talk about those type of issues. If you didn't take the Agile class, don't worry about it. I'll try to go as basic as I can. So first of all, let me give you an overview of the tool itself. When you first join your company, when you first started working, they will give you access to this. If not, this will be the first thing you get access to. And JIRA tool, when you click on JIRA itself, you're going to see a dashboard, right? And it's going to be your work. Your work meaning anything that is assigned to you will show up right underneath. And this is for today. And pretty much it will be sorted based on priority, based on the date itself. And then we got the views. Anything that you clicked on, you're going to be able to see as a history. Today, I clicked on these things and I can see it. Assigned to me, these are the tasks that are assigned to me that I can see, right? So right off the bat, you are able to see how this tool is helping you, or how can this tool help you to do your job. Imagine yourself joining your company. The first thing you did is click on your work, and then you're seeing that, okay, wait a minute, I'm working on these two tasks, and this needs to be done today or something, right? Your boss says this needs to be done today, so you need to do this too. But after clicking on it, this page shows up, and you're able to see even details about your task only, right? All right, so I know this might sound a little bit confusing, like, okay, why am I going to use this, and so and so. Think about assignments, right? You got assignments. You will get assignments when you start your project, and as you can see, assigned to me, I can see different tasks for me to do, right? So just remember, this is an assignment management tool, this is a task management tool, this will be a constant reminder. Anything that you do here, it will send an email to the project manager, okay? Somebody who is managing the entire project. So imagine like you click on this, and it says it's in progress, and you said, you know what, I'm done with the work, I'm going to put it in QA. So now you put it in QA, right? That means this specific task now will be sending an email saying, hey, this SSP 11, which is the task ID, was just done and moved to QA, right? And this email will be sent to project manager, and he'll be able to see that. But most of the email he will not follow, right? It's because it's just way too many notifications for him. But it's a good way for you to get understanding that even you will get the email too, because you are the, like, if you are the assignee, so we got the reporter, we got assignee, then you will get the email that will show that you made that change, okay? You don't have to follow the email. If you kind of get used to working with JIRA, you don't really follow the email. but it's a good way to also know what's happening with your task. If somebody else comments on it, you can immediately see the comment on your email, so you can come back to this task and reply to this comment and say, hey, I'm still working on it, it's not done, something like that. All right, so let's go back to basics, right? In JIRA, so JIRA is a software, let's say, task management tool that helps us managing our assignments, and especially JIRA helps with Agile Scrum. JIRA also helps with Agile Kanban. So let me go ahead and bring up something that I did the last week. So hopefully that is still available. So let's see, which will help a little bit. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's still available. Okay, good. So those who actually attended the class from, let me just zoom in here. Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay. Ooh, okay. Can you guys see my screen? And the other thing about my class is that I will be asking questions, guys. So I will be choosing who I will be asking the questions. So it is very important that you pay attention, unless you kind of. 1 second. Okay. All right. So last week, at least in my class, we talked about how SDLC works, right? And I'm sure many of you guys went through this. If you guys didn't go through this, it's okay. We're gonna go through this again. But when you talk about SDLC, software development lifecycle, we are, and I'm just doing a small review. And those who missed it, we're gonna share the video, which has a bit more details. So SDLC, software development lifecycle, involves these stages, these phases, which is first, we have to do planning. So what do we need to build a software, right? So software development lifecycle. First, we need planning. Then we need requirement gathering, understanding what the software will do, right? Then we do a design to see how that will look like. Then we will see the code. Pretty much we'll do the code, right? Code development, or this will be done by developers, coding. Number 5 is testing. This is where we come in, right? And testing involves this whole area right here, okay? And pretty much this is the process that we follow. This is the engineering process, and it's called software testing lifecycle, okay? STLC. Number 6 is deployment. Software testing is done. So now, after number 5 is done, number 5 involves all this process. Once these are done, then we go for a deployment, which is releasing the software. And number 7 is maintenance. Once we release the software, we want to add new things. We want to remove things that doesn't work for us. This is called maintenance. Maybe we want to add new feature. Maybe we want to really enhance the existing feature, and that is called maintenance. So we're going to be adding things that we need to add, but for that to happen, we have to go back to planning again. Then we have to do requirement gathering, then we have to do design. So you can see why we call that as a life cycle, right? It's because, like, even if we want to do maintenance, we want to add new things, we want to modify existing feature, modify existing part of the application, then we still have to go through the entire process of SDLC. And that's why we call lifecycle, software development lifecycle. Now, STLC also have its lifecycle, software testing lifecycle. And this is the engineering process that we follow for testing, right? This is the engineering process that we as a tester, we as a QA engineer follow to make sure that we tested the application well. Number 1 is requirement study. Number 2 is test planning. Number 3 is test scenario. Number 4 is test cases. Number 5 is execution. Number 6 is bug logging and tracking. So after executing, obviously you'll find bugs. So that's number 6 followed by steps. Number 7 is UAT testing, because you're done with your part of the testing. You will be helping UAT testers to do the testing. And number 8 is production ready, meaning you're saying deployment can go, right? So which is you're giving your sign off saying, okay, things are good, you can go ahead and release, okay? Now, if we, okay. So, okay. Try to go on the right. Okay, there we go. Okay. If we pretty much look into, oh, okay. What did I just do? Okay, there we go. Okay. If we really look into this, right, in Agile, and we're talking about Agile, when we do the software development lifecycle, right, which is this, and let me just go ahead and zoom in one more time. Okay, so when we want to build a software and we're following the SDLC, and it has different methodologies, right? One is Agile and the other one is waterfall. So today we're pretty much covering as much as Agile as we can. Agile is essentially meaning that we're going to have smaller sprint, meaning smaller duration, right? And we call it a sprint. So in typically a sprint can be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So let's say we are looking at 2 week sprint. In the 2 weeks time frame, the first day of sprint, we're going to do a meeting, which is called sprint planning. On our every single day of that 2 weeks, we're going to do a stand-up meeting, which you guys just did today, right? So these are for every single day. And then we have grooming meeting that happens in the mid sprint. Okay. And then we have a sprint retrospective that happens at the end. This is like a conclusion meeting. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of speed through because we need to cover the new topic. Now, in order for us to be in Agile, we follow a sprint board. And as you can see, these are different tasks, and we can move the task along, right? Pass, fail, and all that stuff. And now going back to JIRA, right? These, if you go to your project, so let's say sample project is for you today, and you can see the same columns, right? You can drag and drop a task. That means you said you are right now writing code for it. In progress means developers will move from to do to in progress. That means they are working on it. QA can take in QA to in UAT. That means they're pretty much done with testing, right? They can move it to done. And UAT will be doing the same. Okay. So now let's go back to JIRA and just focus a little bit more on JIRA. You guys can hear me clearly, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, children.
Because my internet is a bit slow today. So just want to make sure that we're fine. So I'm going to be asking questions just to make this class a bit more fun, interactive, right? Interactive class is good. That way you learn, and I also learn how much you learn. So that way I can focus on things that you've missed. All right. So when you click on these icons, right? This icon is basically app icon. When you click on it, you're going to see that multiple apps. You got JIRA software, you got JIRA service management, and you got Confluence. So Confluence and JIRA is going to be on your resume, right? So JIRA is basically a task management tool, and Confluence is a documentation tool where you document things. Okay, instead of writing it on Excel, instead of writing it on a Word, we're going to be writing in Confluence. It's going to be like a web page for you to display either how to do something, right? So you develop something, you did something, and you want to write some documentation. You can write your test plan here. You can write your test scenarios here. You can write pretty much anything that you want to document in this application. So if I click on it, it'll take me there. We're going to see that at the end. So now if I click on JIRA, and once you go to the JIRA, immediately we talked about already your work, right? Your work definitely shows what you're working on and what you visited, and if there's, okay, so let me just go into the page. This is how it looks like. You can also customize this, right? Your work shows that how many projects that you are assigned to, right? A company has 50, 60, 70, or even more projects. That doesn't mean that you're going to see all of the project into this dropdown. The reason you're not going to see all of them is because you need to have permission. Everything requires permission. So if you don't see a project, that means you don't have the permission, you don't have the rights. So then what you do, you reach out to your Scrum Master, your manager, and say, hey, listen, I don't see my project, the one that you just assigned it to me. is because maybe I don't have permission. Can you help me with that? All right. So immediately you will be able to ask the right question at the right time. So now let's say for me is these 3 project is assigned to me. I can see what I am working on, what I viewed last, I can see assigned to me. These are 6 items assigned to me. And if I started working on something, as you can see, I didn't started anything yet. Now, if you click on project, we just talked about, right? You can also create a project, but you're not going to see these because you don't have the permission, right? So if you're not an administrator, you're not going to see how to create a project. You can bring all projects. So that way you can see like all 3 projects are here, and you can choose, you can search if you need to, and go to the right project as you require. Okay. Now, the next thing is filter, right? If you go onto the filter, and which is a very good tool, right? Which your manager uses all the time, and they will be using all the time. Filtering is basically try to see, let's see, advanced issue search. Let me go into that. Okay. Filtering is pretty much you're searching for issues, and you want to see, let's say I want to find out somebody that got hired like 2 weeks ago, how much work they did in that 2 weeks, right? All I have to do is choose their project. Okay, so I'm going to choose their project right there. Okay, and after that, I will be choosing what type of issues they may be that I would like to track. So I can say all of them, right? All standard issues. And then I can say, I want to see if they did anything. That means done. Okay, so if they did anything, obviously it will be done. Otherwise, they're still in this status I don't really care about. And then I can do a search. And as you can see, we have quite a few stories done by this user that I am currently looking. Now, assignee is all, right? So let's say the current user right there. Okay, that's me right at this point. So current user finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 issues the last 2 weeks. As a manager, what I can do the same query, and this is called JQL, by the way. So JQL is pretty much JIRA query language that the manager can use to find the items that you worked on. And you can also use that to see how much work your coworker did. You know, this is just to kind of like get the idea how much work you need to do, right? We try to do maybe a little bit more than our coworker, but we don't want to go overboard. We don't want to do everything, right? And there's good reasons for that. So we'll talk about that later. But now you can also investigate and see how much work your manager did or somebody else did if you know how to write this query. And so pretty much this is one way your manager can kind of track. But this is also not for tracking purpose, but also let's say your manager says, hey, can you give me a report end of the week and tell me what you were working on? And let's say the whole week you didn't really track anything at all, right? Because you were just busy working. What you can do is come here on the issue filters, right? Search issues, and then you can write you can use the basic tool. If you don't like JQL, you can use the basic search, and you can choose yourself, and then you can choose the time frame here, right? More, you can actually add time frame, when to when, right? Between time also, like between, let's say, last week to now, right? And then you get these items, and then you can now provide details, say SSP 17, and then provide some description that you worked on these specific items for the last 2 weeks. Okay, so this is not only tracking, but it's also will help you do your part, which is writing some report. Maybe you want to do bi-weekly report to your manager. Maybe your manager is giving you meetings like one-on-one meetings, right? So let's say every 2 weeks, your manager says, okay, let's set up 10 minutes of one-on-one meeting. Let's talk about your progress. So how can you be ready for that meeting? All you have to do is go to the filter, do the search, find your items that you worked on. And then when the one-on-one meeting starts, you just say, okay, let me give you a forecast of what I had been working on for the last 2 weeks. Here are the items that I'm working on, and I actually worked on, I finished, and I'll be working on these items. So instead of done, you're going to be putting in progress, and then you're going to be taking the ID of in progress items, and you can then say, okay, look, these are the 2 items that I'm working on, and these are the items that I finished. So you can create an Excel, you can actually export out right here, Excel, PDF, whatever you like. Okay. You can also choose what do you want to include into that report that you're exporting. You can actually have list view, detail views. You can also make CSVs. You can also do sorting, right? You can have priority items showing up first, and pretty much many more ways you can do things, right? I means your watch option, meaning let's say your coworker is working on something and you would like to keep an eye on it, just click on the eye. It's pretty intuitive, right? It's pretty easy to do. So one of the easiest way you can be engaged at work, meaning you are somebody who knows pretty much everything about everything, meaning who's working on what, how the workflow is going, how many people are like finishing with specific tasks, by just simply using JIRA. Okay, so it's a very important tool for you to understand. Let's say you're working on something, you're just working on 2 tasks and you finished for the 2 weeks, and you would like to say, you know what, if this two task is sufficient, because you want to look better, right? You want to make sure that you're doing much better than your coworker, do some investigation, right? So that is your filter. Okay. And we just talked about project. Now, how many people can here tell me what is the project? I'm not going to go into it. So let's do a pop quiz here. What is the project and what will it do? And then we have your work. What does your work do in summary? Who wants to pretty much explain to us?
Should I?
Go for it. Yes.
I think what I understand is project is whatever the manager give you something, task or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and your work is whatever the work you have done till now.
Okay. And okay, so we're gonna go to the next person. Who else wants to give it a try?
I can go if you want.
Go for it. Yeah.
Uh, I think the projects are what we have been assigned to by the managers. It will list all the projects. And if we don't have any kind of permission to view those projects, then we'll have to request the manager.
Mm-hmm.
But in your work will be the ones that you have been assigned,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to make sure that you get it done in a timely manner, and make sure that we have the permission to do all of that work that needs to be done within a week. And you can also track your work down, because when you click on it, it has other stuff that you can see, like what you've assigned to, or what you've been working on, and what you need to be done, basically what you viewed and everything.
Okay. And how do you see, like, let's say you're working tomorrow, do you think this is going to be helpful, this specific your work?
Yeah, this is also helpful, but if you click on it, it will also extend. Like, it will tell you exactly what you've worked on, what you've been assigned to, and if you can, how you can click on it and go further from there.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean, your explanation is much more I would say richer, which is kind of shows that you learned or you understood better. Then who wants to explain? We talked about softwares, right? These are different softwares here, right? We have JIRA software right there, which we are just currently explaining, okay? And we will be going into Confluence after we finish the whole JIRA software. And also each one of you guys should have access to this software, just like you would get access when you first get a project. And so I'm gonna pretty much assign you guys that when I show you guys how the admin side of this project of JIRA looks like. Now, next we go to the dashboard, right? Dashboard is pretty much, you can view all dashboard and you can also create your dashboard. Dashboard is for the purpose of you customizing to see what you are interested in seeing. So if I click on view all dashboard, and this is a public dashboard that is available to everybody in that project, okay? Everyone in JIRA will have that default dashboard. Default dashboard includes projects, how many projects there is. So if I'm assigned to 3, then all 3 projects showing up here. Assigned to me, everything that is assigned to me will show up here. Anything that I did throughout the whole JIRA will be showing up here. What time I did it, and if I write a comment or not, if I want to watch, pretty much it's more ways for you to have more visibility on what you need to work in and what you need to focus in. Your focus is pretty much gets better by looking into these items. Now, this dashboard is configurable. As you can see, this 3 dot right here, you can simply click on it and you can change colors, configure, rename, however you want, right? You can also move around. You see, I can move things around if I need to. I can also add things. Let me see if where is this button for adding? So if I want to add something, view dashboard, create a dashboard. Okay, so we'll show you that, but pretty much dashboard is yours. This is a default dashboard, so I wouldn't add a default dashboard. What I would do is that I would create a new dashboard for me. So I would create a new dashboard, and I would say, like, for example, my name is Jewel, and say Jewel's dashboard. And nobody will be seeing that because you're going to private that, meaning you are interested in only certain information that you would like to see. Nobody else will see it. So if this is private, now I will go into my dashboard and I will start adding new gadgets. Okay, so let's add our first gadgets. The first gadgets that I would like to see is that, let's say I want to know some reports about the project itself, so I can add that, right? So that's one. And let's say I go into this, add a gadget. I want to know, let's see, filter by count. Let's see, what else can I add? JIRA, bubble, okay, JIRA management. Okay, so I can also say assign assignments, okay. Load all gadgets, okay. Activity sprint, activity stream. I'll add that because I want to know what I'm working on or what I did, right? And similarly, many more, right? So once you're done, I'll do the dismiss. Once you are done with this, then you're gonna see this information showing up. So if you save it, look, boom, you can see created 7, 1 resolved. I will save this, and now I can see activity stream as well as pretty much the created versus resolved. So how many I created, how many I resolved. 1 was done and 7 issues I created. So this could be like bug, like how many bug you created versus how many bug were resolved. Okay. So dashboard, sky's the limit for you, however you want, whatever you want. Pretty much you can play around with it. You can create, each of you guys can create your own dashboard. It's gonna be private, so nobody's gonna see it. And the next class we can showcase, maybe we can showcase somebody's work. All right, so the next one is people, right? People is pretty much invite people. So just because I am an admin, I am able to see this, invite a team member, but you're not gonna see invite a team member because you don't have admin permission, right? So generally, or normally what you will see here is that you're gonna see your team members, everybody that belongs to your team, it'll be showing up right here. And you can pretty much see who's, and you can click on them and you can see their titles and things like that, their information on JIRA. And lastly, we have apps. Apps is basically if we want to have, let's say, test case management, and we're going to do test cases here. We're probably going to learn about a test case management tool here instead of ALM, because ALM is something that a lot of companies are not using. So test case management tool, we're going to learn it here. So this JIRA, just make sure that everybody have access to. The next class will be test case management, and we will do test case management tools. And then let's say you want to create something. So let's say, what do you do? Okay, who can tell me as a tester, what do you do when you find a bug?
We report the bug.
Okay, so how do you report the bug? So if you're working in JIRA, what do you do to report the bug?
First, we'll go through all the tools of JIRA, like.
Okay, that's probably not correct, right? So if we already covered apps, then we create the bug, right? So we're going to be creating a bug. So if you click on create, this button is kind of universal. You click on create. And now if you found a bug, then you want to create a bug. Then first thing first, you want to make sure that you're in the right project. You're creating an issue for the right project. That's the first thing you want to make sure. So let's say we found a bug for our sample project, which is SSP. Okay, fine. So that's the right project. If we want to create a bug, then we want to change the issue type. In JIRA, everything is an issue. As you can see, it says create an issue. In general, they call everything is an issue, but you can change the type of the issue, which is bug at this point, right? And then we're going to write our summary. So if you find a bug, you have to write summary line. You say one line and you want to explain what happened and where. So let's say on the home page, you cannot sign in. So on home page, I am not able to sign in, right? Using valid using valid credentials. Okay. So simply the reason why we write one line, what happened where, is because so immediately a developer will read it and know the priority of this, know why this is higher priority and why he needs to jump right in. Okay. On the description, we write steps to reproduce. That means what did you do in order to find this bug? Number one is, let's say, visit, right? Dot something, right? So let's say this is for Facebook, or this is for, let's say, I'll go to Facebook. Okay, so visit this number 3. I'm just going to write the steps because obviously Facebook, everybody can log in. So this issue is not there. So we're going to make believe that is there, right? Number 2, enter username. Number 3 is that click sign in button. Expected result. You have to write actual result. So what were you expecting? What were you expecting? If you know Facebook and you use Facebook, you should be able to log in. So I should be able to log in using valid credentials. Okay. And what happened? Okay. So if you, what was the actual result? Okay. So what happened? You can say I am not able to log in and see an error. So let's say make believe an error, right? Server is something like this. Like when you see this type of issue, right? So let's say you just saw this issue, right? And so we provided steps to reproduce. Let me just make that a bold. And we provided expected result and actual result. I will make that as a red, right? Because that's what happened. Fixed version, we have to provide a version. So let's say this is happening 0.01 version. Priority is the highest priority, right? Because why? Because nobody can log in, therefore you're not making money. Then we want to label this. Let's say label is, let's say, sign in page, right? Sign in page. So you already provided that environment. This is happening in QA environment, okay, not in production. Then affected version is 1.0. Remember, we talked about that version 1.0. And this is not blocked by anything. And assign it to, we can assign it to a developer, right? So let's say developer is this guy, right? And then sprint is the current sprint, okay? And then I will then create. Does not exist. Okay, we have to create this version. Okay, there we go. And then I will go ahead and create this issue. Okay. And how many people can tell me here that what we missed in this bug? So this is how exactly a bug will look like when you create it. What did we miss here? In purpose, I missed something which is very essential in a bug. What it is that we missed here? Who wants to answer this?
Severity?
Severity. Okay, severity was optional. We didn't really include it. Okay, so let's say, okay, I'll take that as an answer, but we also missed something else which is more I would say important. What else did we miss here? A bug has summary, right? Step to reproduce, expected result, actual result, what environment that happened, right? We got the priority, we got the affected version, we got the screen, we got the label.
By
Reported by, it's right here. Somebody who reported, right? QA manager reported this. So created by is going to be this guy, right? Because
screenshot.
there we go. Screenshot. That's it. Perfect. So imagine, like, this is the thing, right? And it happens more often. Like usually if you're the first time on a job and you find a bug and you're too excited because that's your first bug and you like to reach out to the person, right? So what's going to happen is that you're going to quickly create it, and then you're too excited. You're going to be standing up right away in your office and be like, hey, I found a bug and I would like to send it out to someone, right? So you send it to the developer and he's like, wait a minute, for me it's working. Okay, he's gonna say, for me it's working. And now you're gonna say, wait a minute, so what happened? So for, let's say, for 5 minutes the server was down and now it's back to normal. It looks like you're lying. It looks like you just invented this, right? But if you had a screenshot here, then you would show him like, wait a minute, maybe sometime the server goes down. We need to fix this. This is still a problem. Now, if you don't have a screenshot, the developer will come back and say, no, it's working for me. Come back to me when you have this issue again. You see the difference? So he will say, come back to me when you have that issue again. Now you have to watch out for this issue. Now you have to do more work, not only just wait until the server goes down, but also you'll have to pretty much close this and then reopen it when things are back to the same situation. So that's where the problem is, right? So if you do include that screenshot, then you can say, look, I don't know, server shouldn't go down during the office hour or during the working hours. If it went down, then I want you to take a look and provide some sort of fix there, right? That's one. The other thing as a QA, like, which I would highly recommend, this is an optional. Okay, so I'm going to edit this here. And how do we do a screenshot? And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. You take a screenshot. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this real quick, copy, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it. Okay, there we go. And I provided a screenshot of, like, let's assume this is the screenshot of the bug. Okay, and I went ahead and added there. Now you can say attempt, numbers of attempts. You're going to say 5 out of 5. That means you tried 5 times. Okay, and this issue persisted 5 times. That means it displayed 5 times. So therefore, many times in real work environment, what happens is that developer is going to say, hey, did you try removing your cache? Did you try removing your cookies? Did you try this? Did you try that? They're going to try the easy way out. They will say, okay, it's not working for you because you have cache, you have cookies. All right, so you can also say note, tried with removing and how many people know what is a cache and what is a cookie? Okay, how many people know here? Who wants to explain?
I'm not sure actually.
Okay, all right, so let's talk about that for a second since I have this opportunity here. Okay, removing cache and removing cookies, right? Is that cache is responsible for saving. Cache means when you visit a website, it will save some information from that website. So the next time when you visit, it doesn't need to re-download information again, right? So the first time you visit a website, it will take some time, right? The next time you visit the same website, it doesn't take time because it already has some information saved in your browser. The browser will save some information just to make sure the next time you visit, it will automatically visit that. So now let's say developer made some changes on the style, how this should look, and you visited the website and you're going to still see the old version of it because it already saved it before. So far, so good. How many people don't understand this?
Could you repeat that again?
Okay. So what is cache, right? Cache is something, let's say for the first time, I'm going to go into incognito mode, right? And for the first time, I'm visiting chase.com, okay? Look how long it's taking. Look at the globe, it's still spinning. The next time I visit the same one, boom, instant. Do you see the globe? You don't see the globe, right? Instant. It's because the first time when we visited the website, it downloaded information. For example, this icon, this color, these buttons, this image, right? These icons as well, right? So all this information, these images are already saved into, right now is saved into your browser, okay? So your browser saved this information because the next time you visit the same website, it takes it is basically faster because it doesn't take a long time. For example, let's go to World Street Journal. Okay. World Street Journal.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
I think your screen is kind of froze, so we are not able to see.
Oh, okay. One
Yeah, I
sec.
can't see anything.
Okay, got it. Okay, so let me go into that. It's not frozen, it's just that you guys can see only one screen at a time. So now can you guys see it? I'm just going to, okay, so can you guys see it?
Yes,
Okay.
now I can see.
World WSJ.com, right? So I'm going to go to Wall Street Journal. I want you to just understand how long it takes. Okay, so it's been a while that I visited their website, so it should take a long time for the first time that I'm visiting. Okay, notice how this is spinning. Okay, still not loaded. Okay, so it did take a little bit of time. Notice if I refresh, it's instant now, right? Is because the images and things like that get saved, and developers are okay with that. The Wall Street Journal developers, they will permit what needs to be saved into the cache, right? It's called cache memory. And where is it? Where is this, right? So if you go to inspect and you go to your memory, okay, go to application, right? If you go to the application, you can see you got local storage and you got session storage, okay? And you can see the information is being saved. Look what it is that is saving. You can also see cookies, okay? Cookies is basically the credentials, right? You visited, how does it know that it was you, okay? So that's the credential is being saved here. Cache storage is right here, right? So application cache is right here, okay? So right now for this one, it probably didn't save anything because we didn't do much to it, okay? So cache is for saving information that is very common every time you visit. So imagine like you visited now versus 2 minutes later, it will be way faster because it already saved the information. Now, when developers make changes to the application, they sometimes don't have control over the cache because the cache is saved to your computer, okay? They cannot really come to your computer and remove it. So what's going to happen is that if you find an issue, if you find a bug, you want to do at least one attempt. You got 5 attempts, for example, right? You want to do at least one attempt by going into the setting. Let me know if you guys can see it. If you go into the setting and you go to the advanced, okay, so if you go to the advanced and even if you don't go to advanced, let's say you don't know this, right? And you have Chrome, then you can do a search, CHE, right? So did I correctly? Let's see, cookies, right? So there you go. Look, clear browsing data, right? So if you do clear browsing data, it will also include cache right here. You see cache, image, and file. It has 147 MB. Then you can right now delete. Okay, you can clear it. Once you clear that information, then you try to log in once again. Okay, and if it doesn't work, that means it's a real issue. Otherwise, it's not a real issue. It's because your browser had information from the last version of the software. Okay, so that is cache. So far so good, you guys. Then I'm gonna explain what is cookie, and then we
Yeah.
move on. Okay, good. The cookie is basically, now cache is done. Okay, cookie is responsible for saving information. For example, when you go to Facebook and you logged in, right, and then the next time you visit login, how does it know that that's you? Okay, for example, our auto draw, right, how does it know that's me and it needs to display this information? It's because it saved my credential. Okay, it saved it already into the application. So if I go to the application right here, if I go to the cookie, and you can see that this specific auto draw, it actually saved that information, and that because of these informations, it is able to determine that, wait a minute, this is the same person who logged in again, and so they will not ask you to log in one more time. The moment you delete your cookie, it will then ask you to log in again. So if you, for example, if you logged into a public website, sorry, public computer, you go to the library and you log into your Facebook, you should always go into the, you should go always to the application, go to the cookie and right click and clear it. Okay, right click it and clear. So nobody can log in. I can also steal your credentials. I can basically take the cookie and the authentication token, because it will have the token, trust token, authentication token. I can take it, and then I can also go into my regular computer. I can go home and use that token to log into your Facebook if I need to. Okay, so it's very important. You can actually export this information, and then if you have the right skill set, you can actually use that to log into somebody else's Facebook, and you don't even need the password. Okay, so just make sure that you understand what cookies and cache is, right? So for example, let's say you basically click on sign in. Okay, once you sign in here, it will save that information right here. Okay, the next time you visit, it doesn't even need sign in. Each cookie comes with expiration date. Okay, so don't be scared, because cookie is a good thing, so you don't end up doing a lot of work on your own. Each cookie is going to come with expiration date. For example, right here, expires when? This one will expire, let's say, okay, let me just go into this. I'm trying to see the date. Looks like this is expires 7, 8, I don't know which is the date, but okay. This will expire in a certain amount of time, and each, who determines the expiration date is actually the developer, right? They can say 15 days. So Facebook, if you haven't logged in for like 20, as long as you keep logging in, it will keep you, it will update your session. Okay, it will update the expiration date. But let's say you didn't log in for 60 days. I don't know how many days Facebook is permitting, but let's say you didn't log in for 60 days, then they will ask you for password again. But normally I think it's 30 days, right? 30 days you didn't log in, you didn't even go to Facebook, then they will know you are not active into that browser. And when you try to log in, it will say, wait a minute, log in one more time to confirm who you are, right? So now that we're clear, when you find an issue, you should also remove this cookie and storage, refresh, and then run it again. What is the easiest thing you can do? You can probably use Chrome incognito mode. Incognito window, if you click on it, I don't know if you guys can see it. There is 3 dots and there is incognito. Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so at work, many times out of laziness, I use incognito, because incognito is supposed to not save any. I think it saves for only like couple hours worth of information. It doesn't save history. It doesn't save from 2 months ago, right? So incognito is pretty safe if you want to, let's say, immediately try incognito and say, I want to verify if this issue is not cache or cookie related. If it's cache or cookie related, it's not a developer's problem, right? Because it's your browser issue. Okay, so save yourself some time. Just make sure that you attempt that before you log that issue. Okay, so let's go back to JIRA right now that we are all clear. Okay, so we just created ourselves a bug. What if I want to create a story? Okay, if I want to create a story, what do I have to do? Who wants to help me with this? So I'm gonna go back to normal. Let's say right now I'm a BA, okay, and who creates a story? BA or a product owner, right? I will click on create. I will choose my project. The project is sample project. Then I will choose story, right? Right, it's not a bug. So I'll create a story and I will say in homepage, I would like to see a, let's say Twitter login link, right? So people can log in to Twitter in order to log into, let's say Facebook, for example, using their Twitter or in login page. This should be login page. Okay. So you want to basically make sure that Twitter users, they can also log into Facebook without having to sign up, right? That's what you want to do. So that's the story. And now as a BA, I will provide more details. Okay, here I will also provide a screenshot. So I will do a browse and I'll provide a screenshot on how it should look like. Okay. And that screenshot is going to come from our design team. They will design it. They will then send it to me. I am the BA. I will go ahead and assign it here, right? Put it in here. So I will say, visit login page. So user should see. Okay, so I'm going to say as is functionality current feature, right? Current feature, user only can log in using Facebook, and let's say Google.
So Jill, you are writing the story.
Yes, I'm writing a story right now.
Okay.
So this is current feature. Okay, what is the new feature? What I want a new feature. I want add Twitter next to Google, right? Icon. So Twitter users can also log in same way as Google, or right? This is very like simplest way I'm putting it, right? It will be more information. So just for the learning purposes, I'm not putting too much. Then I will write priority. I will say high priority because we have a lot of Twitter users. I'll provide, let's say, I'll create a new label Twitter so that way we can track it later. I will then add it to a sprint. If I add it to the sprint, then it will go right to that specific sprint. So SSP 25, and this is your requirement. Now, as a tester, you just see what needs to be tested. So if you are familiar with the applications, who is not familiar with Facebook and Twitter? I believe nobody here, right? So if you are familiar with Facebook, Twitter, and Google, then this should be an easy testing for you. For example, all you have to do, just look for the Twitter, log in, and it's working, done. But then you guys learned something called boundary value analysis. You guys learned something called equivalent partitioning, right? These are testing techniques, right? So in this case, can you use boundary value analysis to come up with the test scenario? Remember, if you go back here, as a QA engineer, what do you do? Hold on, I will. Okay, now let me move on to this side. Okay, if you guys go back to our previous classes, you guys will see how we created this. Now, if you're testing that story, you have to do all of this. Okay, you have to do all of this, right? That means you have to study the requirement. Now you understand what Facebook and Twitter do. So the study is already done, right? Then you do your test planning. When you do the test planning, you're going to find out what techniques you're going to use to write the test scenarios. Number 3 is the test scenarios. Now, test scenarios is basically you're saying, I would like to cover testing based on the user's flow, right? User's flow is pretty much how many possible way a user can log in. So let's say a user goes to Facebook login page, and then they try logging in using Twitter. Okay. They enter the Twitter account user ID, but they did not enter the password and click next, right? That is a negative scenario, right? That means they should not be able to log in. Another user goes in there and enters the valid user ID and valid password, and he logs in. That's a positive scenario, right? Another user goes in and he enters the valid username, valid password, but wrong username, and he was not able to log in. That is a negative scenario. Another user goes in, clicks on the Twitter and doesn't enter anything and clicks next, and he cannot log in. Systems says enter this information. That means it's a negative scenario, and we validated that. So that is another scenario, right? So similarly, we want to cover every possible combination of scenario, is because that is a public facing application. That is an external application. You have zero control over people to kind of break the system. It could be a hacker or it could be an unintentional issue. So I'll give you an example, and it's a funny one. One example is that, okay, I'm going to the Facebook login page. I click on Twitter and I want to log in, but I leave my computer to the side, went to grab a cup of coffee. In the meantime, there is a cat walking by my keyboard, right? And it entered some special characters, for example, $, pound. Typically, that's what happens when you have unintentional keyboard activities, right? With that information, somehow the cat also pressed return, which is enter. And now the entire system broke. Now, pretty much Facebook is not available. Facebook is done. It's pretty much done because why? Because a tester did not test that functionality. We need to be able to test with anything and everything that people can do. For example, that $, that pound, these will be special characters that we also want to test to make sure that user ID containing special characters does not break our system. The reason why I said is breaking the system is because that information goes into the database for checking to see that information exists in the database. When it goes to the database gets upset for some reason because it was not expecting that special character, right? And now the server is down because database is down, right? So you can probably see why we need to cover all possible combination of scenarios. And I'm sure Shantabai will cover this in details more. Then when we write the test scenario, we write the test cases, right? Test cases is pretty much taking each scenario, providing enough details to make sure that we're pretty much, we cover everything, so that way we don't have to go back to this document, that document, and even requirements. So for those who are, today is your first class, don't worry about it. I will explain each one of these in details and show you in practice the next class, because the next class we're going to be writing test cases here in JIRA in one of the apps. So we're going to have to add that app. So let me go ahead and add it actually in the meantime.
I just have a quick question.
Go ahead.
So how do you know, or I guess what is the, how do you know when do we have to create a bug, a story, or we don't have to worry about that? That's just what we've been given to us and we just work on it. Like, how do you know how to create a bug or a story or, the others?
Okay. So let's go to a story, right? Let's go to our story back, go to sample project, and I'm going to go to the backlog. Okay, so no, not backlog, the board itself. And I also have to explain this, so we'll go over that in a second. Okay, so here we have a story, right? And it says, this is the story, right? In login page, I would like to see a Twitter login link.
Got it.
Now, let's say the developer says, I'm done with creating that. So he puts it right here. And now you are the QA and you said, okay, now I'm going to test it. So you put it back in here and you said, okay, it's assigned to me. You're going to assign it to yourself. You see unassigned, you're going to assign it to yourself. So you assign it to yourself, and you also, for a good measure, you said, hey, working on it. Working on this story, right? Right. And you saved it. And so somebody knows that you're working on it. The next thing is you're writing all the scenarios. And you started providing scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3. Similarly, you write all of the test scenario that you're going to be testing that we just described. Now, all of a sudden, when, let's say the same example, right? A scenario where a special character containing, let's say username containing a special character cannot log into Facebook because Twitter account contains some sort of a special character, right? Is that a bug or is that not a bug? Tell me. What do you think is it?
Bug.
It's a bug because you're saying Twitter users should be able to log in. It's pretty explicit. We want to have Twitter users can be logging in through their system.
So bug is basically what is not a possibility, like, or what shouldn't be like.
So anything that goes against your requirement. This is your
Okay.
requirement, right?
Got it.
And you're saying Twitter users should be able to log in. Now, if that Twitter account, he is able to log into his account, but he is not able to log into Facebook because his account ID has a $sign on it, then it's a problem on our end because he's able to log into Twitter without any problem. So that means we have to do something to fix that issue, right?
Got it.
So based on the requirement, anything that doesn't meet, and also like remember in scope and out of scope. That's something I think Shantabai covered it on our first 2 classes. Or if it doesn't, we're going to cover it. In scope meaning like here, when you're testing this, you shouldn't go out of the topic. You should only test what you're asked, right? If you find additional issues, then you have to ask them like, hey, does anybody know about this issue? And if your whole entire team says no, that means you're going to click here in create, and you're going to create that as a bug. Okay. Now, if your team come back and they say, hey, we know this issue, it's really something that going to go away within 2 hours, it's just a configuration issue, don't worry about it. Then okay, then you can track it. You can just wait for that 2 hours. 2 hours later, you just tell them again, hey, I didn't see that being fixed. Do you want me to create a ticket? Then you say, yeah, sure, go ahead. Then you create. If somebody says go ahead, then create that bug. So it's good to ask. But if you're working on a user story and it didn't really go with what you expected, so you have to read this and then you have to create your expectation. The expectation that you create it is actually test scenario, right? So you'll be writing your test scenario either in Excel, right? If you write it in Excel, you're basically writing number 1, I will be doing this, number 2, I'll be doing that. And then one by one you execute, meaning one by one you go to the website directly yourself and you execute them to see whether it's working, whether it's not working. Whichever scenario failed, you're going to basically list all of the scenario. You're going to say scenario number 5 failed and user with the $sign cannot log in, right? And then you're going to save it. Then you're going to go back to create, and we're going to create a bug right now to show you as an example. You're going to create sign on there. Twitter ID cannot log in, right? Here, you're going to say, you're going to have to provide the steps to reproduce, same thing. All the steps that you did, right? Number 1, number 2, hold on. So number 1 is go to login page, QA environment, right? QA env. Number 2 is enter, click on next to. Number 3, enter. Now here, Twitter ID, you want to provide exact ID because otherwise nobody will find it, right? We don't know what ID. So you're going to say, Jason, this money maker, something like that, right? So that's the Twitter ID, and you have to provide password too. This could be your test user, right? You created this Twitter account yourself to test it. Okay. Password is me, right? 01, something like that. Now when you enter that, and number 4 is click login, then expected result. User should actual result. User was not able to log in. Error message, error. You have to provide what the error message, right? So it could be like a internal server error. That means internal server error is pretty much meaning like the developers, they didn't know how to handle this type of user ID, right? So that's why it probably caused it. Then what you want to do is that, okay, this may be not like crazy high priority, because remember, Twitter doesn't even exist in production yet, meaning people are still not, Twitter is a new feature, so people are not dying without it, right? So you can put like, yes, it's probably high priority, but not the highest, right? You want to choose a label Twitter so you can track. You want to put QA as an environment. You want to then provide the screenshot by clicking on browse. And then you want to say this will block the issue that you are working on. So the other issue was what? In login page. So SSP 25, which is the login, is blocks by this guy, because this guy needs to be fixed in order for you to finish with SSP 25. Sprint, you can put it in the current sprint yourself, because that blocks your current ticket that you're testing. So if I click on this and create, and it added right here another bug, then it has the high priority. As you can see, these issue blocks SSP 25, which is in login page. I would like to see a Twitter, right? So this actually, you cannot test it. It's right now in QA, but you cannot actually move forward. If you go into this SSP 25, it will tell you like this one is blocked by this guy. You see blocked by. So remember, how do you link these type of issues? You can actually click on the plus and link it however you want. You see block by, you can say related to, you can say clone by, you can say duplicate. If you find duplicate issue, you can say it like this. And this is how one way for you to link your bug with the user story that you are testing. Okay. Many companies, many teams, they will say, hey, don't create a new bug. If your user story failing, just write the detail on the comment. Now, I would not agree to that. You're going to say, look, it's for my tracking, because you are testing, right? If you find a bug, that means you are working. If you didn't find a bug, that means you're working, but it's like, where is the data? Meaning, how do you know that? Do we know that you're working? So it's always good to log this information. Just say, look, I need to create the bug, so that way it's easier for our tracking, right? So at the end of the sprint, you can actually show how many bugs that you created yourself, how many bugs that were fixed. Okay, so don't listen to the developers when they said, okay, don't create extra issues. You talk to your boss, you go talk to your key manager and say, look, the only way you'll know like what progress I'm making is if I create the bugs. So I'm gonna go ahead and create the bugs in JIRA if I find it. Because sometimes they will say, okay, do the same information, and they will say, put it in the comment, So pretty much they're saying, don't take credit for finding a bug. Okay, so you need to kind of talk to your manager. Usually your manager is pretty good. They will pretty much make sure that you are doing well this way. Otherwise, it's kind of like gets to a point where it looks like QA doesn't find any bugs and everything is working as smooth as possible. And so then why do they need QA? All right. So that is one thing. If you join a company and this is not the way it is, then just try to say, okay, let's create a task, because that's the way I get the credit, right? Otherwise, who will who will know that QA is doing such good work? All right. So now we got the epic. Remember last time we talked about the epic is like a story that is big. It's huge. Epic needs to be broken down and make into a story. So you can also write an epic, for example, the whole feature, the whole thing. Now, the little bit of time that I have here, I would like to give you guys access to this software. Okay. Now, And then if we have extra time, we're gonna go with the review. We're gonna see what questions you have, but you can play around. You can go move around and see. What I would say here is okay. So it's probably, instead of writing it down, I'll give you guys the homework since you guys are already here. If you go to your project, everybody's assigned to right now is dedicated tech solutions. Okay, let's say, no, never mind. It's not configured yet actually. So I'm gonna go to SSP, for example. Everybody's assigned to SSP. I want you to write 2 user stories, okay, of Facebook, okay, and everybody's working for Facebook right now, okay. That's the make pretend, okay, make believe we are working for Facebook. So I want you to write 2 story, right, that Facebook already has, and also pretend that feature doesn't exist. For example, I would like to add a friend, right? That's the feature. So you can say I would like to add a friend, and you can describe what the friend adding looks like as a, so you'll be writing the requirement yourself. So I want you to write 2 requirement of Facebook, okay, and add them, right? Add them to the current sprint by putting it here, okay. And then I would like you to, hold on, let me cancel this, okay. Then I would like you to add 2 bugs, make believes 2 bug, right? Something that is, let's say you encountered while you do story testing, right? Somebody else's story or your story, and then you wrote 2 bugs, okay? And then I want you to write 2 tasks. Epic, we're gonna do it next time. So you got yourself 3, all total 6 issues that you'll have to create, 2 bugs, 2 tasks, and 2 user stories, okay? And I want you to create it in SSP board, okay? Once you create it, you can see, you can drag and drop, right? It will probably, the first time when you log in, it'll give you some tutorial using overlay, okay? Overlay is basically, it's going to guide you something. It's going to say, click next, click this, click this. This is called overlay, okay? So when you get these overlays, it will then kind of guide you to get to the right place and do the right things. So any question on the homework, you guys? This is a very simple, easy homework.
Sorry,
right?
I have a question.
Yep.
The tasks. I got the story, like you have to create, and then the 2 bugs. How do you create a task? Like, is the task like underneath the bug, or does it come like in the beginning? Sorry,
So,
I think I missed that part.
Sure. So let's say this is a story, right? This is a story, and you can actually create a subtask. So there are 2 type of tasks, right? One, for example, let's say this is a story and it's big, and you want to break that down, then you can create 3 or 4 more subtasks. Okay, that is one way to do it. The other way is that if you want a separate task that may be like not a lot of work, it's not a user story. So let me create a task and kind of give you guys the way that I will do. So task is simply something like, let's say, setting up the QA environment, or let's say creating test data. Let's say you're creating 5 Twitter accounts for testing purposes. So you're going to ask your manager to give you a task, so that way you can complete it. Because without a JIRA task, we simply don't take credit, right? Nobody knows what you're working on. So you're going to say, can you create a task for me and assign it to me? So if they're asking you to do something, I say, can you create a task and assign it to me? That is the easiest thing you can do, because first of all, you're getting credit. Second is that you can actually read and understand what needs to be done. Imagine like he calls you and like, hey, listen, can you just create 5 Twitter account for us to do the testing? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll create it right now. Done. You created it, but you got no credit for it. Okay, so you're going to say, hey, can you create the task? It'll be easier for tracking purposes, and I'll go ahead and continue. This is like the professional way you can do this. So let's say your boss is creating, so I'm creating right now, create 5 Twitter accounts for testing purpose, right? Now the first Twitter account, 1, let's say username. So I'm going to define what it should be. So username should be, let's say sample 1. Number 2, username should be sample $, right? User, let's say. Number 3, username should be
These are all possible usernames, right?
Right. If Twitter allows this type of username, then we want to create anything that Twitter allows. We want to create for testing purposes. So let's say sample pound. I'm sure they don't allow that because it's a hashtag, but I'm just gonna put it right there, sample user, right? Something like that. So I'm just giving you guys an example. And so simply you got yourself 5 of these. So 4 and 5. And what is a task in JIRA, right? Task and story is 2 different things. Story is a bit more, it pretty much requires for you to go into the application. The developer has to do their coding and so, right? And you got task is basically you simply do something that you will not do it again and done. It may not require testing, right? It may or may not require testing, right? But many times you'll see that they will ask you to do task instead of creating your story, right? So you'll have to like see what is the norm, what is your team is pretty much asking you to do. So you can say, okay, when should I create a task and when should I create a story? But normally you create a task when it's like one time, it's like quick, something needs to be done, task. User story is coming from the BA or product owner. They're the one who's defining what the product should be, right? So you can, like, if you need to do something, let's say you want to create the task yourself because you're working on something that is not related to the application, then you create a task, right? So I hope that explains a little bit. But also the projects, when you join the team, you're going to see like other team members, what they do, and you'll be able to follow and do the right thing. All right, so that's simply how the task is. And notice that task does not exist in the board, active board. And I'm going to explain this side and then we're going to end today's class. But before we do that, let me add you guys to this thing. So that way we are all set. So we can, in 20 minutes, we'll be able to finish. All right, so everybody start typing your email address to the chat. And I will be then adding you. I'll be sending you invites to join this group. Okay. So let me go into our chat. Okay. Got it. Okay. So I'm gonna, you guys are gonna see who's getting added and who's not. So just go ahead and, oops, that's not it. Okay. Copy, Rafi. Okay, so this will take a little bit of time since we got to add all of these people. Invite team. Okay, so far we got, okay, so let's see, 3, okay.
Julia, can you take the second one? Sorry, I misspelled the first one.
Okay, it's fine. You can send me another one. Nahid. Okay, so Nahid is done. And okay, so that's that. I'm gonna also make you guys, some of you guys, I'm gonna make you admin. So if, let's say, some of you guys are not able to access this software, and you can just put a comment in the group and somebody will add you, right? Whoever I'm gonna give access to right now has side access. So I'm gonna give some of you guys admin access so you can go ahead and also help other people to be added in this invite. Email address. Okay. Okay, this looks like it will take a little bit of time. In the meantime, if you guys have any question, maybe I can explain while I'm trying to add you guys here.
For JIRA, it's only for manual testing, right? For automated testing, do we write the code into JIRA?
So you see, JIRA is a task management tool, right? And if it's a task management tool, that means automation, when we do the automation, is still a task, right? It's like pretty much you want to know who's doing what, right? You want to track, you want to make sure that things are being done as planned, right? And you're doing it the best possible way. So JIRA helps your team to kind of manage that portion, right? So automation, if automation is a task, then obviously it will be added here, right? But here, you know, the work itself is not added, right? So if you write automated tasks, it's not going to show here, but it will show that you finished a specific task. You wrote a new task. Yes, that will be finished, and that will be showing, but you can, to get the credit, right, you need to be able to show, okay, I did so much, I made this much progress, right? Then you should add the task here. Like you'll ask your boss and say, hey, can you add a JIRA ticket so that way I can work on this automation or that automation, right? Otherwise you're going to lose your mind because you don't know which one was done, which one is not done, right? So at least this way you can track your progress yourself, but also this way your manager will know exactly what you are working on. All right, so far everybody's added. If anybody is missing, okay, let me go through the names. Okay, so just let me know if anybody's missing. So these are the users. Okay, anybody is missing?
Yes.
Okay, send me your email address. Okay, so the last email address, I will be sending the invite.
My one is missing too, but I already sent the email. Should I send it one more time?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Okay, so that's one. And try to log in. I'm gonna give you guys permission, right? Permission. I might give you guys, all of you guys, admin, just to exploring, but then this may create some sort of issues, like somebody will delete the whole whole project. So that's why we will probably restrict, but let's see. Okay, I added the last 2%. If anybody else,
Jewel, do we have to log in and do we have to sign up?
you have to sign up. Yes, this is an invite. You sign up. If you already have an account, then it will link this project to you. But most likely, you're gonna have to sign up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you see, like we sent an invite already, and I can see who already signed up. So let me refresh this, and I can check whether you logged in or not. So when you join a company, right, and they give you access, try to log in, sign up, and get things done right away, because they will see, okay, the last 5 days, this person hasn't even tried to sign in.
So we have to log in right now?
You can. You don't have to right now, but you can, just to make sure that you have everything you need, right? Let me go to the admin. Okay, JIRA, because that's okay. Somebody's writing annotation here.
But before that, we have to create an account, right?
Before that, yeah. If you check your email, right?
Okay,
You're going to see that it sends you an invite.
I send you mine.
Okay. Oh, you just sent me again. Okay.
Yeah, I just sent you again.
Okay.
Nahan@gmail.com.
Okay. So if you're missing here, just go ahead and send me, and I'll.
Yeah, I think I'm missing too.
Go ahead, you can send it to me, and.
I sent you 2-3 times, Joe.
Okay, which one? Which email is this?
ASGHER.
ASGHER. Okay. 1 second, let me find you. ASGH. I am actually looking. and I didn't find anything on the chat. Can you just send me? I'll just take it from the last message.
Okay, okay, 1 second.
When you send chat, you have to send it to everyone. Then you can see it. Because first 2 times I sent it directly to Sayed Jewel.
Right. 1 second. All right. Okay, so that should be the last person, right? And I send it to that too. Okay. All right. So if you're missing any sort of access, like for example,
I'm
yeah.
too missing.
So,
I still missing.
Still missing.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead, send me that. So it's better, like the way I can track it. If you're the last person sending the message, I will then add you. So go ahead and do that. Okay. Okay, and anything else? I think. Okay, this was the last person I just added. So I'm gonna go over this list
No,
again.
I still missing.
Okay, so let's look at the list. Okay, so quickly, everybody just pay a little bit of attention. This is one, right? And then this is the first page where we're going through. See if your name is not there. I'm gonna go slowly. Okay, so if you're missing at this point, just send me another quick chat and I will add you. Okay, M1975, I will add you now.
Can you see starting with Asghar, ASGHAR? That is his email ID.
So I just added that, and let me go into. I don't see Asghar here, right? So if you want to send me in again, right? Make sure you choose everybody, right? You don't send private.
Bhaiya, what tools we should use? It's saying the important tools, select the important tools.
What was your question? Okay, I got another message, so that means that should be the last part. There you go. I got your. Okay, so I just want to make sure that everybody get the right access, so that way nobody. Like if you log in, you're gonna see that not everything that you can see that the way that I can see everything, right? Admin and all, you're not gonna see everything. So let me just make sure that you guys get the add to user group, show product access. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna add you guys to JIRA administrator, JIRA user, site admin, right? So all application. Okay, grant access to all application and their administration feature. When you use JIRA, just make sure that you are not really yeah, you're not really deleting anything. Just don't delete anything, right? I'm gonna give you guys administrator access for a reason. The reason is that I want you to kind of see what's available to you, but at work they can restrict you based on your user group. Okay, so right now everybody is an administrator at this group. And okay, so all user. Okay. Admin, JIRA admin. Okay, and then somebody just got admin, so show product access. So you got this, okay. User group, admin. Anisul got the admin access. Okay, so we're gonna continually adding all of you guys. I'll be adding that in the background. So just make sure that you sign up and everything. If you don't have the right access, go ahead and let me know, and I'll if I missed you, I'll add you. But if I didn't miss, then you're good to go. So my homework, at least you guys know, just go ahead and write 2 of each, right? Task, bug, and also story. but be very descriptive. I would say do some research before writing it. For example, story. How do I write a good story? Write it on Google. How do I write a good user story? Okay, for a software project. Then you go into the Google. I want you to do a little bit of research. Don't give me basics. Okay, don't go into Facebook and start looking at their features and writing those. But I want you to understand it before you write them. It's very important that you understand. So do it for your sake, to make sure you understand what it is, what is the best possible way you can write a user story, what is the best possible way you can write a bug, what is the best possible way you can write a task. Okay, with that said, you guys, I will end the class for today. Since it's Sunday, you guys can go out there and enjoy the rest of the day. Again, my homework is not too much, so you don't even have to do it today, right? So just do it Tuesday, Wednesday. But if you do not have access, some of you guys, like right here, Ahmedur, Ali, I believe you have access as an admin. So in case I don't respond, I'm making some of you guys admin. Just go ahead and give them the right admin access just by clicking here, clicking add, and just make them as an admin. And then what you do as soon as you log in, right? You go into your JIRA software, right? As soon as you log in, you go into your projects. You are supposed to be in sample projects. And then on the left side, you have many other options, which let me quickly go over since we have the 7 minutes, but you're adding it to this board, okay? If it doesn't show on the bottom on the board, that means you didn't choose the sprint. When you create, you're supposed to choose sprint 2, okay? This is your sample sprint, so make sure you choose your sprint. All right, with that said, let me go over to this panel right here on the left side. This is the project name. When you click on it, you can see the board. If you, for whatever reason, you cannot see the board, just click on the project and then click on it and you will see this board, okay? Then if you want to see backlog, like you edit something and it's not showing up here, it's not showing up on your board. Let me just go back to the board real quick. So you're on the board and you edit something and it's not showing up. I want you to go to backlog, okay? When you go to the backlog, you should see at the bottom because it's going to add it to the bottom. Then you can drag and basically, you can drag this and then put it up, right? So if you go like this and you can put it up and down, okay? See, confirm, boom, and you're moving it. So you can move it this way. So that's another way you can do. And if you click on active sprint board, does the same thing. That's the board. Active sprint board is pretty much same thing when you click on the SSP board. Then you click on report. Report is something that you were never going to see it, okay? Because that is for managers. They want to see what was the progress. They want to see like how much work has been done. They want to see if your team did good or bad and things like that. This is something that you will see now. But anything aside, like in your workplace, you're going to see the board, you're going to see the backlog, and that's probably it, right? You're not going to see anything else. Everything else will be for managers and higher ups, right? They will see this information in order to manage you, to see what kind of work you've been doing and if you need any sort of help. So, all right, that's pretty much it for JIRA. I want you guys to pretty much explore, right? There is settings and stuff. I would say don't mess with settings. You, as soon as you log in, you're supposed to click on project and then go into this, and then you can add those 3. But if you need to delete something, don't delete it. If you created something and you feel like that didn't happen, like that is a mistake, just write on the title, we'll delete later, and then just leave that alone and just create a brand new one. Okay.
The task is like 2 stories, and like out of 3, we have to do each 2, right?
So you got 2 bugs, 2 stories, and 2 tasks.
Okay.
Okay. Also create two subtasks while you're at it. So that way you create 2 subtasks, go into one of your story, and then you'll see the option, you see, and just create 2 subtasks for it. Okay, so I will give you guys details on what I'm looking for, but the next class when we join, you're gonna see this is full of people's work. Everybody did something, and I will be able to just go to the report. I'll be able to go to the report and I'll see like who created what, right? How many stories you created, how many issues you created, and what is the level of details that you added. I'll be able to see it here, and then I'll tell you like what you're missing. So by Friday, I'm going to start messaging people that didn't even add anything, that didn't even log into it. So for example, if I click on this and I go into my user management, I will know if you signed up or you didn't sign up. So by tonight, if you didn't sign up, then I will ask you to sign up. Okay. So I'm going to give you until midnight to pretty much just, the first thing is just sign up, right? So you can start seeing things. So that way you don't forget this, right? This is something that you need to do in order to get more hands-on. So I will give you guys a reminder. Those who didn't sign up, I'll just call you out in the chat. If you did sign up, then you're good to go. And then if you did sign up, then Friday night, I will send out another message to say, okay, you didn't do anything at all. Here is your data, right? Here is the analytics, or here is the result or report from JIRA that shows you did nothing for the last 5 days. Okay. All right. So pretty simple, right? Before Friday, and then also just sign up by tonight. You can probably sign up end of this class. It takes 2 minutes. All right, you guys. So I will talk to you guys soon. If you guys have any questions, just go ahead and put it on chat this week, just so you guys know. And I'm gonna stop with the recording. So hold on a second, stop recording.